Let me ask you a question. Have you ever noticed how certain health problems seem to travel together? Maybe your blood pressure has been harder to manage lately. At the same time, you're sleeping poorly. Your legs cramp at night. Your mind feels restless when you finally lie down to sleep. And despite taking medication, something still feels off. Most people treat these as completely separate issues. One problem for the heart, another for sleep, another for stress, another for muscle cramps. But what if some of them are connected? What if there is a common factor hiding behind several of these symptoms? Here's why I ask. Many adults over 60 are unknowingly low in an important mineral that helps support muscle function, nerve signaling, sleep quality, and healthy blood vessel function. And because the symptoms appear gradually, most people never suspect a nutrient issue at all. They simply assume, I'm getting older. The problem is that aging and nutrient depletion can look surprisingly similar. Poor sleep, muscle tightness, fatigue, restlessness, even changes in blood pressure patterns. Now, before I tell you which mineral we're talking about, let's look at a few clues. The first clue often appears at night. You're sleeping peacefully, then suddenly your calf tightens, a cramp. You jump out of bed, you stretch, you walk around, you wait for the muscle to relax. Maybe you've experienced this yourself. Maybe someone suggested eating more bananas. Sometimes that helps, sometimes it doesn't. And that's where the story starts to get interesting. Because not every nighttime cramp is caused by the same thing, and the answer may surprise you. Let's continue with those clues. The second sign many people notice is difficulty relaxing at night. You finally get into bed, the lights are off, the house is quiet, but your mind keeps going. Not necessarily because you're worried about something specific. Your brain simply refuses to settle down. Thought after thought, idea after idea, and before you know it, an hour has passed. Many people assume this is just a normal part of aging, but sleep researchers have found that certain nutrients play an important role in helping the nervous system transition from an alert state into a relaxed one. When those nutrients become depleted, the body may have a harder time making that shift. Now let's look at another clue. Some people notice a pattern in their blood pressure readings. Everything looks fairly stable in the morning, but by late afternoon or evening, the numbers begin creeping higher. That doesn't always mean medication is failing. Sometimes it can reflect changes happening inside the body throughout the day. Stress, sleep quality, hydration, physical activity, and yes, nutritional status can all play a role. Then there are the little things that many people ignore. A muscle twitch, an occasional fluttering sensation, a feeling of tension that never completely goes away. On their own, these symptoms may not seem important, but when several of them appear together, they can start telling a bigger story. And that's why many health professionals encourage looking at overall patterns instead of focusing on a single symptom. Because the body rarely speaks in just one signal, it usually sends several. Now here's where things become especially important for adults over 60. Certain everyday habits and medications can gradually reduce levels of key minerals over time. Not overnight, not dramatically, just little by little, year after year. And because the change happens slowly, most people never notice it happening, until the symptoms become difficult to ignore. In the next section, I'll show you why many routine blood tests don't always tell the whole story, and reveal the mineral that may connect more of these symptoms than most people realize. Now let's talk about something that surprises a lot of people. Many adults assume that if a nutrient level is low, a routine blood test will immediately reveal it. Unfortunately, it isn't always that simple. Some nutrients are tightly regulated by the body. That means the body works very hard to keep blood levels looking normal, even when reserves stored in tissues and bones may be declining. As a result, someone can experience symptoms that suggest a deficiency while routine lab work appears perfectly fine. That's one reason healthcare providers often look at the bigger picture instead of relying on a single number. They look at symptoms, lifestyle, diet, medication use, and overall health patterns. Now let's reveal the mineral we've been talking about. It's magnesium. Magnesium is involved in hundreds of processes throughout the body. It helps support muscle function, it plays a role in nerve communication, it contributes to healthy sleep patterns, and it helps support normal blood vessel function. The challenge is that many adults don't get enough of it consistently, and certain factors can make the situation worse. For example, some medications may affect magnesium balance. Certain digestive issues can reduce absorption. Even long-term dietary habits can gradually lower intake over time. The result is that people may begin noticing subtle changes. Sleep becomes lighter, muscles feel tighter, stress feels harder to manage, recovery takes longer, and the body simply doesn't feel as resilient as it once did. The interesting part is that many people never connect these symptoms to magnesium. They assume each issue is completely unrelated. But when you step back and look at the bigger picture, a pattern sometimes begins to emerge. Now here's another important point. Not all magnesium supplements are the same. This is where many people become frustrated. They try magnesium once, don't notice much difference, and decide it isn't worth taking. But the form of magnesium can make a significant difference in how well it's tolerated and absorbed. And that's exactly what we'll discuss next, because choosing the right form may be just as important as choosing magnesium in the first place. So what happens when people start paying attention to their magnesium intake? The answer is often surprisingly simple. Many people first notice changes in their sleep. They fall asleep a little easier. They wake up fewer times during the night. And perhaps most importantly, they wake up feeling more refreshed in the morning. That matters because sleep affects almost every system in the body. When sleep suffers, energy suffers, mood suffers, focus suffers, even blood pressure and recovery can be affected. When sleep improves, it's common for people to notice positive changes in other areas as well. Now let's talk about magnesium supplements. One reason people become disappointed with magnesium is because they assume every form works exactly the same. But different forms of magnesium are designed for different purposes. Some are commonly used for digestive support. Others are often chosen for general supplementation, and some are preferred by people looking to support relaxation and sleep quality. One of the forms frequently discussed in wellness and healthy aging communities is magnesium glycinate. Many people prefer it because it is generally well tolerated and often easier on the digestive system than some other forms. That's one reason it has become popular among adults who are interested in improving their overall magnesium intake. Of course, supplements are only one part of the picture. Food matters too. Magnesium is naturally found in foods such as leafy green vegetables, pumpkin seeds, almonds, cashews, beans, avocados, dark chocolate, whole grains. The challenge is that many modern diets don't include enough of these foods consistently. As a result, magnesium intake gradually falls below optimal levels, and because the change happens slowly, the body adapts little by little until symptoms begin to appear. The good news is that magnesium status can often be improved through a combination of better nutrition and, when appropriate, supplementation under the guidance of a healthcare professional. But there's one important question left. How much magnesium do adults typically need? And how do you know whether supplementation is appropriate for you? That's what we'll cover next. So how much magnesium do adults actually need? The answer depends on several factors: age, diet, activity level, medical conditions, and the medications a person may be taking. That's why there is no single number that works for everyone. For some people, improving magnesium intake may be as simple as making a few dietary changes. For others, a healthcare provider may recommend a supplement if intake appears to be consistently low. The important thing is not to self-diagnose. The important thing is to start asking better questions. If you're experiencing poor sleep, frequent muscle cramps, unexplained fatigue, or difficulty relaxing at night, magnesium may be worth discussing with your doctor. Not because it explains every symptom, and not because it's a miracle solution, but because it plays such a widespread role in the body that it's often worth considering as part of the bigger picture. One of the biggest mistakes people make when it comes to health is focusing on individual symptoms while ignoring the overall pattern. They treat sleep as one issue, energy as another, stress as another, muscle cramps as another. But the human body doesn't work in isolated compartments. Everything is connected. Sleep influences recovery. Recovery influences energy. Energy influences movement. Movement influences cardiovascular health. And nutrition supports all of it. That's why the healthiest adults over 60 are often the ones who focus on foundations rather than shortcuts. They prioritize quality sleep, daily movement, proper hydration, balanced nutrition, stress management, regular medical checkups. And when those foundations improve, many other things begin improving alongside them. So if there's one lesson to take away from today's video, it's this. Sometimes the answer isn't finding a new solution. Sometimes it's identifying something important that has been missing all along. And for many adults, magnesium is one of those overlooked pieces of the puzzle. If you found this video helpful, consider sharing it with a friend or family member who struggles with sleep, muscle cramps, stress, or blood pressure concerns. You never know who might benefit from learning something new. And if you're interested in healthy aging, nutrition, mobility, sleep, and wellness after 60, make sure you're subscribed. In our next video, we'll explore 5 everyday habits that may quietly lower magnesium levels over time, and most people have no idea they're doing them. Until then, take care of yourself, stay curious, and remember, small changes, practiced consistently, often create the biggest results over time.